Good afternoon. It is lunchtime. Everybody, welcome to the Chicken Boxx. And people from Baltimore are saying, are we getting ready to eat something? What is the Chicken Boxx? What are you guys doing here? What are you even talking about? My name is Kevin Impeccable Peck, and today is the Afro-American newspaper's birthday. Some of you might not even ever heard of the Afro. Go to afro.com. But we decided to launch a new show with everything going on in the world to kind of bridge the gap, break some stereotypes. The Chicken Boxx. She's like, what is that all about? If you're from somewhere else in the world, you have never, ever heard of Chicken Boxx, and this is your very first time. In Baltimore, it's 4 wings and the fries. You know what I mean? You get in the Chicken Boxx, and you got to get it like a half and half. And depending on what part of the country you're from, you will get an Arnold Palmer, which is still half tea and half lemonade. And that's not, sometimes you can ask for that, and they will give you tea without sugar, and you will feel like you have really fallen off the wagon there. So the Chicken Boxx, welcome. Don't be a chicken. Get on the box. Your box is your platform. It's your place to speak your truth based on facts, research, and we're doing things basically that's important to Black people. Here we talk about any stereotypes. We're going to dispel some myths. We're going to talk about the things that you think about, but we're going to talk about, and we're going to say it out loud. It's the things that sometimes people don't even say. So grab your lunch. If it's lunchtime for you, if you're zooming away, turn us on. You're not in front of the camera. It's rude to eat in front of the camera anyway. I'm just telling somebody else. Have you ever been on a Zoom call and somebody's just, they smacking and they don't even know that their mic is on. They don't know what. So listen, don't be a chicken. This is the Chicken Boxx. This is the inaugural show. Happy 128th birthday, Afro-American newspaper. You have been telling the story for 128 years, informing, educated, inspiring African Americans all over the world. Now that we have the internet, it's really a global company. You don't have to wait for your newspaper. Even though we're going to show you something, newspapers still do exist. Hallelujah. It's different. We have Misha Green, and we also have Dr. Francis Tony Draper on with us today. And what this represents is 3 generations. I'm a Gen X. Misha, of course, is a millennial. And Dr. Draper is, of course, one of the famous groups of all time, the baby boomers. So, Dr. Draper, good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever part of the world. How are you?
Hey, Impeccable. I'm good. Hi there, Misha. How are you? So I am well on this 128th anniversary or birthday of the Afro. I'm representing today, even have my bling mask, and so glad to be on this inaugural edition of the Chicken Boxx. And so as a millennial, like you said, we at one time were the largest group, but we
are you a millennial now?
Yeah, I'm a millennial. I'm a millennial at heart. See, so that's how I get. But folk want to label us as a baby boomer. Don't laugh, Misha. But as a baby boomer, we represent 44% of the population. And did you all know that baby boomers spend the most money across every single product category, even though only 5 to 10% of marketing folk recognize that? And so we have the most money, and we used to have the most people, but we love all generations. So I'm glad to be here.
Wow. I did know that, because I've been in several network marketing companies, and they always talk about the baby boomers. Where are they going next? Wherever the baby boomers are going next is the market. If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken Boxx. Welcome to it. I haven't even gotten to the title yet, but Misha Green, today's show is crazy. Anyway.
Yo, this today is super crazy. I think I'm so excited about Chicken Boxx because it's always going to be crazy. Before Kevin even tells you guys what the title is, just know that we are going to be here not only talking about things that are real to the Black community, but we're also dispelling myths and breaking it down. We want you guys to be weighing in on the comments. That's why I am here, for you all to tell us what you're thinking And I promise to try to get to all of your thoughts, all your funny weigh-ins, all of your questions, and don't be afraid to be controversial. As we say, don't be a chicken and get on the box. As you know, I am representing for the millennials, so this digital side is where we love to thrive. And so again, I will be watching the comments very, very closely and making sure that whatever you all have to say or the questions any questions you might have, we will acknowledge on the show.
Share the chicken, okay? If you just tuned in, share the chicken box. Sometimes people don't like to share. They get a box with only 2 pieces of chicken. All right, and let's make it a bucket today. Share the chicken box if you're watching for the first time. Just hit the share button. If we popped up on the Afro's timeline, it's a little arrow that points, for those who might not have shared ever, points to the right. Just hit that button and share to a page that you own or a page that you like. Comment. Tell us what you think. We're about to get into it. Whew. Today's show. Can you get on the virtual box with this? Black people versus fried chicken. Man. Did you hear me?
Black people versus fried chicken.
Did you hear what I said, Dr. Draper?
I heard black people versus fried chicken. I thought it should be black people and fried chicken, but we're going for it on the box.
We going for it on the box.
So we're gonna go low millennial now. If you haven't been on IG, everything has been versus lately. So we're gonna do some black people versus fried chicken, and how did it become the official food for black people? But you know what? We have a special guest today, all the way from Scotland. I think it's Scotland. I'll let him tell you. Let me bring him on. Eric, are you there? I think you're on mute, Eric.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Welcome, Eric.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Eric, I want to say your last name. All right, ready?
Do it. Go ahead.
Naversky.
Close. It's Nevarowski.
Nevarowski.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. He is a media professional and a video producer. Why don't you just, and actually, he's our token white guy for the day. Okay, we're going to always have, some token white friends to come along to really understand the different perspectives, because we do come from different places and we do think differently. So Eric, why don't, before we get started, just give us like a minute background on what you've been doing and how you even got to the UK.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me. I'm really honored to be your first token white guy on this first episode and on your paper's birthday. So thank you for that. That's something I'll cherish forever. That's fun. Yeah, so I'm here with you now from my new home, which is Glasgow, Scotland, which for a lot of people, we need to say like it's not Ireland. Because like they'll be like, hey, so do you go to Dublin? Like it's a whole nother country. Nah, it's the same thing. That's like saying Houston and Houston, Texas and Martha's Vineyard are the same place, right? They're definitely not. So I'm here in Glasgow, Scotland. I've lived here for about 2 years now with my family. My wife is from Glasgow, a Glaswegian, and so we decided to move here to the UK right before everything kind of fell apart in the States. So yeah, I've been here about 2 years. I'm a media professional, videographer. I've worked everywhere for Tribune Broadcasting, and I spent some time at the Oprah Winfrey Show years ago. And yeah, I'm just here to offer my perspective, I guess. And you guys were talking about baby boomer and millennial. And Kevin, you are a Gen X, and I'm like right on that line of Gen X and millennial. Because if you go by year of 81, I would be that tail end of a Gen X, but my attitude and stuff makes me millennial. I don't know. I'm very confused.
I thought you were millennial. What year do millennials start? I thought it was 1980.
So then I would be a millennial. Then I was born in 81, and I guess it's whoever like you talk to, right, where you fit on that timeline. So I'm like right on the cusp, because I didn't grow up with the internet, but when I went to college, it was there. And I remember my roommate freshman year at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, He was on the original list of IP addresses blocked by blocked because he used Napster too much. It was like the first music piracy thing where the guys from Metallica went to Congress and said, we need to, this services, and what was it? It was Napster. Napster is killing the publishing industry. My college roommate, we went online one night and the IP was blocked. So that was cool. He downloaded just thousands of things. So that's kind of gives some perspective on what I do. So like, yeah, I'm a content marketer, journalist, all things media professional. So thanks for having me on. Yeah, that's me.
But you are American, right?
Yes, I'm very much so American. I was born in Chicago and live in the UK now. And it's much different than the United States in a lot of ways. It's very similar in a lot of ways. But it's a great place to live. It's a great place to raise my kids. I really think if you haven't had a chance to live outside the country you live in, you really, really should, because you learn a lot about just so much more. And I think I have a better understanding of a lot of the things that are happening in the world right now. So.
Absolutely. So let's get into it. If you just popped in, we popped up on your thread. This is the Chicken Boxx, where you speak your truth. You get up on your platform and whatever you believe to be your truth, I can't refute it, but I can, because I might not think that your truth matches my truth, but everybody needs a voice to talk the truth. Today we're talking about Black people versus fried chicken. Okay, before every episode of the Chicken Boxx, we have to say grace. So to bless this episode of the Chicken Boxx, and Dr. Draper, can you just say a little grace before we start this Chicken Boxx?
Okay, so that's my truth, is that we bless food before we eat it, even though we've started eating before we blessed it. So God, we thank you for this time together. Thank you for this inaugural episode of the Chicken Boxx. Bless everyone who is a part of the panel today and everyone who is watching by way of Facebook Live, that you might be glorified. In your name we pray, and the people said amen. Did I say thank you for the chicken, God? Thank you for the chicken. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you for the chicken. Black people versus fried chicken.
Woo!
Does anybody know where fried chicken originated from?
Well, I know that we got planned a bit of a historic breakdown, but just from what not knowing, or I guess removing any sort of history that I may or may know about it, I always thought it was a Southern thing. It originated in the South, and particularly, I guess, around slavery, but, or post-slavery. And I just thought that Black people who lived in the South brought it to wherever they migrated to around the United States. And then that's why why the stereotype was that all Black people love fried chicken. That's what I thought. Especially because I knew a lot of white people from the South who also ate fried chicken. So that's why I just thought it was just like a major Southern thing that somehow got pinned as a Black thing because Black people, were a part of the Great Migration, etc. That was my thought about it.
Well, there you go. I looked it up because I was curious. It says actually the origin of fried chicken was traced to the southern states, but it came from a Scottish background.
What?
In a West African cuisine, Scottish fried chicken was cooked in fat, while African fried chicken was seasoned but battered and cooked in palm oil. For those who never even thought about where fried chicken came from, those were the two kind of places where the origin started. Did you know that, Eric? Do they big that up in the UK?
No, they really don't. I actually found out when I was doing a little research as well, and I was really shocked because it's not really a thing that that's really consumed a lot here, especially by Scottish people. We have fish and chips, right? Which I guess is probably the same process. But from what I've read up, I gather that they just took the chicken without battering it and stuff, and just putting it in a hot bucket of fat to cook it off quickly. I can't imagine that tasting really good. And and like people always say that food from the UK isn't that great, and it's really not for the most part. It's really, really not. The food here is not good. So I can see how that cooking technique could be taken and made into the much better thing that we have now.
Absolutely. If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken Boxx, the inaugural day. We have a boomer, a Gen X, and a millennial, and we're all trying to figure out. But guess what? Everybody likes fried chicken. And Eric, I know. I'm going to say it again. Our token white guy. Listen, we don't get enough to say that enough, but it's all in love. It's all in friends because people come from different perspectives. I think when I first met you, Eric, you were telling me you were from Wisconsin.
Yes.
Or you grew up in Wisconsin.
Grew up in Wisconsin, yeah.
And did you grow up around Black people?
No, not really. No. I went to a predominantly all-white high school. It was a college prep school. And then, didn't really get exposed to sort of African-American lifestyle culture till I went to college. So, 18 years old.
So you had 18 years of really not even being. So what was your first exposure when you heard that fried chicken and black people like fried chicken? When did you ever get that? Yeah,
it's fun. I understood the concept of it, but never really knew why, even until maybe, took me a long time to kind of figure out why, but it was through Hollywood. It was through television. It was on, I specifically remember an episode of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air where Will comes back to the mansion with his friend Jazz, who was like the city guy, right? And they were talking, brought these bags of fried chicken back, and I remember they had like a spray bottle of hot sauce.
A spray bottle of hot sauce.
I think it was. I just remember that scene. That, and then I think also from White Man Can't Jump. So, but again, like I like fried chicken too. I think it's delicious. It was always a treat where my parents would take us to Kentucky Fried Chicken or just bring home a bucket of that. So I've never really quite figured out what the connection is and why can't it just be like like an entire just people that like to eat chicken connection, right? More human connection than like a sort of racial connection to it.
Absolutely. Dr. Draper,
So you want the history lesson a little bit?
Let's get a little bit more. Let's get a little deeper about how Black people versus fried chicken, and when did we become like best buds?
Well, we probably became best buds as enslaved folk because it was cheap and easy to get. So anything that was cheap and easy to get, we ate. However, and I'm not saying that to be stereotypical. We ate what we were given to eat, probably. But listen, it really goes back to 1915 with the racist silent movie, The Birth of a Nation, in terms of the stereotypes about Black people and fried chicken. Had nothing to do with whether or not fried chicken tastes good, has nothing to do with whether or not white people eat fried chicken, because they do. Last time I looked at the Colonel, he did not look like me. And so I didn't start that fried chicken franchise, and neither did anyone who looks like us. But in Birth of a Nation, you'll note, if you go back and look at that very extremely racist film, NPR kind of broke it down if you want to take a look at what they said about it. But there's a scene where there's some Black legislators and they are drinking, the feet kicked up on the desk, and one was like obnoxiously eating fried chicken. And so some people say that was the film that, it's that, we say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, Eric, in terms of videos and images. So that was cemented in people's minds. Eating food with your hands was considered to be not refined. And so it's a stereotype. Another way to put down Black people has nothing to do with whether or not the food tastes good. It's all about the stereotype. It's all about reinforcing a myth that Black people, especially Black men, are uncouth, unruly, don't know how to conduct themselves at the table, that type of thing. And so it became stereotype and part of the race narrative.
There you go. That was your 2 minutes. Misha, you look like, are you hungry, Misha? I know it's lunchtime. What were your chicken thoughts about the stereotypes of chicken?
Okay, so
Fried chicken. I'm sorry.
y'all know that I will always take a meal. You know I did not say no to a meal from our many Afro functions. Oh, why would you put the fried chicken?
I'm just saying, you know, I mean, we can't talk about fried chicken with at least seeing a couple people. I think this is battered fried chicken. Anyway, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
I am starving. Stop. That looks delicious. Yeah, no, I think my mind is truly blown to know that pop culture is the reason why we have this stereotype to this day from 1915, over 100 years ago, 105 years ago. And yet now, to this day, Black people notoriously are associated with fried chicken. It's just amazing to me. I do want to remind the people, please weigh in on these things in the comments, whether you knew that Birth of a Nation was the start of the fried chicken stereotype. Do you think that fried chicken should be associated with the African-American community? Do you even like fried chicken? Put it all in the comments. Again, I'm watching it, and thank you all for tuning in. Yeah. Bonnie Dean says, I need smell-o-vision. Yes.
Hey, I thought about smell-o-vision one time. You know how you watch the Food Network all the time? It's like it needs to be something attached to your television when you're watching all of these cooking shows that you can just smell it. It's something about, I mean, the visual, if you've had fried chicken before, you can go back to a moment in time when you had fried chicken. And you can imagine the fried chicken, and it can come into your mind and bring mouth-watering savory. All right, I'm gonna kill you with this one, guys. I gave up fried chicken 5 years ago. I know. Don't shoot me. It's been killing me not to get a piece until the air fryer came out. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Misha?
No, I was just laughing because this also, first of all, it's hilarious that you don't eat fried chicken. And yet we have this whole show. But more, I was vegetarian for 7 years, so I'm just like you. In fact, my mom jokes that the only reason why I went back to eating poultry was the fact that I was craving chicken and mumbo sauce. So for all of our DC people tuning in, that probably was part of the reason why I will now dabble in poultry. Although, let me shout out, there are delicious fried vegan wings, and those are my preference. But what I was going to say, this makes me think of, and smell-o-vision, and us talking about stereotypes, is that is such an American thing. For you know what I mean, Eric? We wouldn't. Those kinds of things just don't happen in the UK, from my understanding. And like, food is such a part of American culture in a way that is just not in other places. But I also think it's, you know, we're stereotypically overweight, overeaters. Now we're talking about smell-o-vision. I just had to throw out that while we're talking about Black stereotypes, American stereotypes are almost just as bad sometimes.
I know the stereotypes are crazy. It's Black people versus fried chicken, and it's versus because it's how has fried chicken become like Black people's national, or African Americans' national food? Like, when did we get associated with that? Dr. Draper, you were reading something to, oh, we got a question. Let me just tune in. Bonnie Dean, she said smell-o-vision. Lenora says this is a great show, but she wants some chicken now. Bonnie also said she doesn't trust you if you're Black and you don't eat fried chicken. And the world might want to know what mumbo sauce is, but that's a DC thing. Mumbo sauce, and it's like it's like kind of a barbecue, but not a barbecue, kind of a sweet thing that you can put on everything in the world, because we had these young kids who have this new mumbo sauce. I ordered some, and I swear I am putting the mumbo sauce on everything. Some people, like, put in the chat, do you like your chicken with hot sauce? Do you like it with barbecue sauce? Do you like it with mumbo sauce? How do you like your fried chicken?
Yeah, throw it in the chat.
Dr. Draper, you eat fried chicken?
Not much. Now, I know I'll probably get kicked off the show. I didn't grow up eating fried chicken. My mother wasn't a cook. She was a working person, and she didn't cook much at all. If it didn't come out of the can or the freezer, we didn't have it. So here's how our chicken was cooked. If you want to boot me out, I'm sure we'll get some comments, but I'm going to get on this box, all right? She would take a chicken, split it in half. This is true every Sunday, and put it in the broiler. So I didn't, okay. See, Eric knows. I didn't get fried chicken till I got married. And my husband, you know, family had and I loved fried chicken, how it tastes. So, yeah. So I didn't grow up eating fried chicken. Sorry.
Well, Adrian Harpool, who is the advertising genius, he said we need to invite Tyson's, Purdue, or Royal Farms to sponsor this Chicken Boxx in the future. We're working on Adrian, and you will get your commission if, in fact, you can close the deal. We're waiting for you.
Right, we got 20% for you, Adrian.
Pamela said we even do 25 maybe. I said it on air. All right, Pamela said I no longer eat fried chicken as well. Now, for you guys who know me in my music life, my group Drew Hill, we travel around the world, and we can get to any airport. If there is a Popeyes in the airport, they are making a mad dash in between connections, and especially when you get to Atlanta, to Popeyes. And I'm going to quote Cisco. He said, chicken is always good. He said it could be good hot. It could be good cold. I can remember when you weren't getting on the plane and you were doing road trips. What did you have? You had a ham and cheese sandwich. You had some kind of potato chips, and you had some greasy fried chicken. And that didn't even have a Ziploc bag back then. That was when the bag just kind of rolled over and you hoped the chicken stayed in there. Anybody remember that? The grease is getting hot. All right. We said some people like it seasoned, and then a lot of people like their wings fried. And some people like them regular. Diane Hawkins says she likes to have her wings fried hard with hot sauce. I'm a barbecue sauce man myself. But when you don't eat fried chicken for 5 years, and then you eat some fried chicken, you love it for about 5 to 10 minutes, but that bathroom trip for about 30 minutes is unbearable. So I don't know if I really want to take the chicken plunge again. It smells so good. It's just something about the smell of fried chicken. And I wonder why. I'm still trying to get in my mind. Somebody put in the chat, how did it become Black people? Like, how did we really get? I understand where it came from back in the slave days and from the history, but where did we get so attached to it? Did we sing songs about fried chicken or something? Did it just seep into our subconscious at night for fried chicken? Because I got a lot of white friends, and they love fried chicken as well. But how did it become just our fried chicken? Eric said he saw it on The Fresh Prince. Eric, since after 18, any of your Black friends who have invited you over for fried chicken?
No,
No,
not at all.
Have you ever
No.
Have you ever shared fried chicken with some friends?
No. It's more of like a very family sort of thing. I don't get it a lot. KFC is a very popular restaurant here, but I just haven't really gotten it yet at all. I will like to tell you how I like my fried chicken, and it's plain. I just like it plain. No sauces or anything. But no, I've never been to a party where I'm trying to think. Never like in the someone making it for us. It's always like brought in. Like in Chicago, for a lot of being a Polish Catholic, you went to every sort of religious rite party afterwards. So baptism, there would be like pasta and fried chicken legs from, I think it was Brown's Fried Chicken, like a catering company in Chicago. But other than that, no, I haven't.
Misha, when's your earliest family fried chicken experience?
So it's interesting because, and I hope my mom is watching, I always say that her Black card is revoked because my mom does not like fried chicken, nor does she like watermelon. I don't know where she came from.
What? You got to check it. Is your mom watching?
I don't know, but if so, she has to weigh in. She just says it's never been her thing. But my mother makes amazing fried chicken. While she does not like it, she can throw down on some fried chicken. And in fact, I guess my grandmother probably made it originally for family gatherings. And then after my grandmother died, my mom was the one who made all the fried chicken for all the family gatherings. So it's been part of my family for quite some time. I grew up in a very health conscious family. My mom doesn't eat red meat, or pork, and I grew up never eating pork. And now I don't eat red meat, and my dad doesn't eat red meat and pork. So like fried foods in general also weren't super in my household all the time. But fried chicken, I knew it was a special occasion. My mom used to do it every year for my birthday, on top of the fact that we would have it for Thanksgiving and Christmas and all of that. But yeah, fried chicken has always been near and dear to me. I think now, as a millennial, I think about the fact that fried chicken is not even like the main thing that we do now. It's like chicken sandwiches, and chicken and waffles and things like that. But in terms of growing up, I grew up with a mom who did not like fried chicken, but made the best, hands down. Even I will never forget. My mom always gets mad at me because talks about she got mad at me as a kid when you know how you have like school potlucks or whatever, class potlucks. I signed my mom up to make fried chicken. And she said she was so mad because it was like feeding almost 100 people, my whole class and their parents. And I signed my mom to make the fried chicken.
Your mom was up all night because if you don't have a fryer and you don't have a chicken deep fryer in your house, that black. Am I the only one? All right, I'm going. This is not racist. Everybody, I think, in my family had this black iron skillet.
Yes,
it was a black pan, and for some reason, I remember fried chicken being fried in the black pan.
Yes.
Now, all right, I'm going to let you guys in on a secret, or should I let you in this week? The young lady with Draper on her name is my mother. So, there you go. There's the connection. Hi, Mom. This is the first time we're on the show together, and then I'm gonna say hi, Mom, because that's your mom.
But I never fried any chicken. Your other grandmother fried chicken.
Oh yeah, and she could throw down. But anyway, Joyce says that the reason that Joyce Barnes says the reason that black people, he said, we got hypnotized by fried chicken, and she said actually her teenage daughter, took some to school for lunch, and her friends tried to steal it. Now, was this her black friends or her white friends? Let us know, Joyce. Bonnie said fried chicken with hot sauce and a piece of bread. Stop.
Stop.
You just hit stop, right? Oh, the sob.
Stop. She said to stop it up, which, yes.
Listen, after a certain age, Gen Xers, you do need reading glasses. I put a T there. She said sop. Sop is a African American word, I think. Is sop, Eric, used in the white community? Do you guys say sop it up?
Like in terms of like absorption?
Yeah.
No, mop. That's what they say over here. And it drives me nuts. Like I've been watching a lot of like Jamie Oliver, the Jamie Oliver guy. He's that pompous English chef, TV chef guy. And he, like, when you watch his show here, like, they put the camera really close to his face while he's eating the soup or whatever he made, and like says crusty bread to mop it up. So they say mop it up, and that drives me nuts. I would much prefer sop.
Yes.
Like a lot of like even the way people talk about food here makes me not want to eat it. It's just a very weird outlook. Like I think that's the thing that I miss the most about America is just the food. And like there are like obviously there are great restaurants and stuff, but honestly, it's like because the World War II is still the remnants of World War II is seen everywhere here in the UK. So there's still like, some people, if they didn't fight in it, they were children while it was going on. And so like there's still a lot of people that eat that World War II style food. I sometimes joke that they still eat like it's the war here, because it's just like bland potatoes with like a little ground meat and maybe a carrot or something on there, and then they take bread and mop it up with, and it just, the whole thing just is so off-putting. I don't, yeah.
If you just tuned in, this is the Chicken Boxx. This is the inaugural show. We had been thinking about it. We actually did this is a pilot program with Facebook. Shout out to Facebook, for just thinking outside of the box. No pun intended. And we wanted to dispel rumors. We wanted to really speak the truth about Black people and about generation. But we started with fried chicken versus Black people. We're going to bring some controversial topics as we go away. But today is the 128th birthday of the Afro-American newspaper. And we have something called Afro Facts. We're going to go away from chicken while you're still thinking about Derek Lindsay said mop is too funny. He's laughing on the thread. Lenore says absorption. We're going to absorb some hot sauce on our chicken. Judge Wilbert Jamel says, how is it possible that fried chicken can be used as a race of depiction against Black people and be such a mainstream favorite?
Yes.
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I want to weigh in on that. But right now, let's see. Misha, you got some Afro facts before we talk about what the judge asked?
Sure. So this week's Afro fact is inspired by August 14th through the 16th, 1908, in the Springfield, Illinois race riots. On August 14th, 1908, a white mob reacted to reports that a Black man had raped a white woman. And from the 14th to the 16th, 5,000 white and European immigrants attacked Black people. 6 were shot and killed, 2 were lynched, and about 2,000 Black people were driven out of the city of Springfield as a result of the 1908 riots. While the riots were horrific, and only about 150 of the mob of 5,000 got arrested, the horrors of the riot woke progressive white people to take action. Sound familiar? The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, aka the NAACP, was formed in part in response to the Springfield race riots of 1908. And you know what happened from there. The NAACP took major action to be the voice and to fight legislation to support people of color. And that's this week's Afro Fact.
We have 128 years at the Afro. We call ourselves the Black Media Authority. We have authored more stories. We have probably enough ink that we've printed over 128 years to fill some river, and we might even be an ocean. That is a lot of ink. It is an amazing. I just like I stop in awe sometimes when you say 128 years. And we want you to share. We want you to go by afro.com. We're moving to a new membership model. Of course, the pandemic, the Chicken Boxx, when we originally thought of it, it was before the pandemic, you guys, and we were going to set up a studio. We were going to have different people from all over the world come in, and they were going to bring their favorite fried chicken recipe in, and we were going to sit around and we were going to do the same thing. We were going to talk about and dispel some stereotypes. We were going to inform, and we were going to do some food stuff. Back in the day, the Afro had an Afro cooking school, which we would love to bring back when the doors open back up, because we know that there's some chefs out there, some home chefs that can throw down, like your mama who don't eat fried chicken, Misha, that we want some of that fried chicken. I just want some, you know what? If my stomach, you know what? Actually, I'm going to ask my wife to pull out the air fryer. It's not the same, but it gets you close. You know what I mean? It gets you close. It's all about the seasoning. You have to learn how to master that air fryer. But that good old fried chicken, when that grease jumps off that chicken, just as you peel it back, and it is just savory, it's glistening, and the steam rushes off of the fried chicken, hitting your nose, turning those senses into a place of a euphoria. No, okay, anyway, I don't know where I was going with that. That's how I miss fried chicken. Just talking about fried chicken just reminded me of how much I missed it. Okay, so back to Wilbur Tramel's
that was a great question.
How is it possible that fried chicken can be used as a racist depiction against Black people and be such a mainstream favorite? Anybody want to tackle that?
I do, because I was wondering the same thing even when we were prepping. Like, it's such a taboo that it's so American, and yet stereotypically a Black thing. You know, and I guess my weigh-in is it's a weird taboo that we need to address and sort of look at it. And it goes back to, before I pass this on, it goes back to things that I often hear, which is that Black culture is American culture. You can't separate the two. And so I think that to answer Judge Tramel's question, that is the reason why I think both exists as a racist stereotype and a truly American staple.
Absolutely. Eric, how have you ever viewed, before we did the show, have you ever viewed Black people and fried chicken together before the Fresh Prince episode?
No, it wasn't until that Fresh Prince episode that I didn't put the two and two together. I grew up in a western suburb of Milwaukee where there just wasn't a lot of Black people in the town that I lived in. So I remember just kind of I remember looking at it and going, huh. So I definitely think it's a manifestation of pop culture, going probably all the way back to that film where it originated. And so it's amazing how, when I think about what I know in the African American culture, was from shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and like Family Matters, and to a certain extent The Cosby Show.
Wow. So television plays a big
Absolutely
part. And I mean, even the news, you know, like how white people depict Black people, sometimes the way that we're portrayed on the news puts a image or a thought in your head that until you maybe have a friend that's Black, or you really have a chance to come in contact with people from a different race or a different culture, that you already, sometimes you can bring that mindset into the relationship even before the relationship begins, which, you know, is the sad part that we're fighting all over the country, you know, because God made people. He made all, you know, everybody bleeds when they cut. Everybody, when they lose their child, they cry. You know, everybody during this time, the COVID has experienced some loss. And I'm not trying to make this a pandemic show, but that's just the real of it. Everybody, you know, you're hearing it almost every day that somebody's calling, something happened, somebody is it. And so all this negative news plays into the psyche when you keep watching it time after time and over again. So I'm wondering, as we got on this platform, Dr. Draper, did we create this stereotype ourselves? Where did the stereotype come from?
We didn't. We absolutely did not create the stereotype ourselves. So it goes way back to, as I said earlier, to the enslavement of Blacks. You know, you do a little bit of digging and you'll find some information about how on the plantations we couldn't have certain animals, but we could have chickens, because in West Africa we raised chickens and we did that well. And so, you know, that was almost like a leftover. It's like chitterlings. It's like chitlins, you know, they became a delicacy after a while, but that was the waste part that we as African Americans had to eat. So we didn't create the stereotype. However, I saw the comment pop up on the screen where someone said, I think it was Dorothy Bulware, said that some of us will not eat fried chicken and watermelon even in public because of the stereotype. You know, just because it's in our heads that there's something wrong with us eating fried chicken. So we don't create it, and neither do we need to perpetuate it. So you mentioned, Kevin, about portrayal on screen and media and that type of thing. And that's why I'm gonna put this plug in. That's why Black media is so important. That's why you have to have it. And so as I'm putting a plug in, I mean, most of us are not going to see this unless you're a member or a subscriber to the Afro, but we did this beautiful 40-page edition, said we're still here. And it talks about the history of voting and voting rights and voting suppression and all the things that people, went through so we could have the right to vote. And so there's some things that we ourselves, we should just stand up and say, you know what, that may be your stereotype, but that's not it. That's not why we eat it. We eat it because we like it. We eat it because of the same reason that you eat it, or we don't eat it because of whatever reason we don't eat it, and not play into it.
Absolutely. I heard you mention something, and Derek Lindsay, thank you for chiming in. He said practices from slavery still impact the health of our community today.
It's the structures and the systems. And so when we talk about, and Eric, I'm glad you're on this show today, because I heard Misha say in our last interview with Reverend Al Sharpton, there are a whole lot of white folk that think they woke, but won't take the time to really find out what we're about. And so we have our assumptions that are made because of what we see in what we consider to be mainstream media. But we're more than fried chicken and watermelon, and there's nothing wrong with it. I'm glad we're not talking about watermelon, because I could go get some of that and put y'all on hold for a minute.
Well, we might have to do a whole nother show on Black people versus watermelon. But listen, Lindsay brings up a good point. As good as the fried chicken is, right? Now I might be stepping out there, and I might be stepping on fried chicken's toes.
Get on your box.
I'm gonna get on the box right now. Okay, a natural path said that he would rather smoke a cigarette than eat a piece of fried anything. Correct. Now, if you look at the southern states where the health problems are the worst, the heart disease, the diabetes, all of the serious health in America, it will show that they fry everything. Like, I have an aunt from Mississippi, and I know they fry everything in the South. I mean, these fried pickles, it's fried, anything that you can name to be fried, it is fried. So I'm not sure where the health, if it's the deep frying or if it's the type of oil we use, or really what is affecting it, but it is clearly affecting it. I'm on my box now. I'm not telling you to throw away fried chicken, but let's just do this, okay? And most of where do you find a Cheesecake Factory and an Apple store? Mainly in the upper white communities, for the most part. You rarely, unless it's in New York City or somewhere, or some of the major cities all over the world, but mainly you'll find the Apple store and the Cheesecake Factory, all of those places. Now, in those same places, you rarely find a Church's Chicken, you rarely find the Bojangles, and you rarely find the Popeyes. And Eric can probably attest, when he was talking about from being in Wisconsin, that I don't know if were those places around your home?
Not around my home, but in the city of Milwaukee.
In the city, right?
Yeah, right. But no, where I lived in suburbia, there was no any of those. I'm trying to think. There might have been a Popeyes in Oconomowoc, but that doesn't sound right to me either.
Right. If you look and you drive through the hood most of the time, you're going to see a bunch of chicken places, and most of them aren't owned by African Americans. Raphael Williams, good friend of mine, says these stereotypes not only affect Caucasians, but can also have a profound effect on Black psyche and self-image. We're running out of time. This Chicken Boxx is it's lunchtime, y'all. We're going to do this every Thursday at lunchtime. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to do final words. We thank everybody who's been just chiming in, telling their fried chicken story, whether you like it or don't like it. But like Dorothy Bowen said, the people who really like it, they still like it privately for some reason. But like Reverend Al said with Misha earlier, he said, don't worry about what people say. Don't get into such a place Unless you're eating it on a Zoom call. Now, don't eat fried chicken on a Zoom call. Go to touch your lens. Now your camera's greasy. Anyway, we're going to go around the horn on the chicken box. We're going to get everybody a minute on the box about this chicken, this fried chicken versus black people. And we'll start with you, Misha. You got 1 minute on the chicken box, whatever you want to say about fried chicken or whatever you want to say.
Well, no, I just want to say thank you to all the people who have tuned in on this inaugural episode. And thank you so much for all your comments. This is what we want. We want you guys to hop on the box with us. Let me shout out all of those who have made comments in particular. We really, really appreciate you. Joy says she's hungry now. She wants a 2-piece chicken box. Yes, look, we all are. But I think that all of these thoughts and everyone's opinions have been really informative and really are going to help us continue thinking about topics for you guys. So feel free to drop some some topics that you'd like to see us talk about in the comments. Continue to share this. Although the stream is about to end, you can continue to share this. And yeah, I'm getting off my box, and happy birthday, Afro, 128 years.
Well, actually, they wrote a script for me, everybody. I got so caught up in chicken. Matter of fact, I haven't even eaten breakfast yet. I've been going, the pandemic has gotten me all crazy. I go to bed at 4:30 a.m. every morning, like it's clockwork, like I'm on either West Coast time or something. But this last section of the round table was supposed to be called Hot Grease, okay? So... so we're gonna drop these topics in the hot grease. All right. Why do you think Joe Biden went with? I'm gonna mess her name up. Kamala. We will have to have a show on how to say her name, But anyway, why do you think she went? Real quick, Dr. Draper.
Why do I think she's going to do what? Why do I think
Joe Biden went with Senator Harris, Kamala?
Oh, come on, there are lots of reasons, and I was going to get on my box about this chicken thing.
Okay, get on it with both. I'm
going to get on both real quick. So in terms of this whole stereotype thing, and you asked about fast food in Black communities, that's a whole nother issue for the box as it deals with food insecurity, food deserts, and just that whole health piece. So that's another thing. In terms of the presumptive vice presidential nominee for the Democratic Party, who's soon to become the vice president of the United States, why not? She's a prosecutor, former state's attorney, effective senator who, when we give her the box, she'll have something to say. I think Joe Biden went with her because she's going to say things that either he won't say or can't say. And she's going to say it in a way that's going to get her point across. She is a fierce debater. She's shown that she can do that. She is more than qualified. And for all the folk that say that she's not Black, they don't have any mirrors in their house. And they haven't heard her, and they don't know her. And so from my perspective, she is the best candidate, and she's the best candidate to become president when 77-year-old Biden either does or does not run for a second term.
Absolutely.
I'm getting off the box.
Off the box. Eric, you're in the box.
Which one am I talking about? The chicken or Kamala Harris? What are
you feeling? Whatever you feeling.
Yeah. So well, thank you for having me to be your first token white guy on the show. I'm glad it worked out. I'm not going to do it again, but I'll give you a list of people that you can contact and get on. And listen, these are important conversations to have because looking at it from so far away, where I am now living in the UK, the Black Lives Matter movement just isn't. It's not, just so you know, it's not in the States, right? We had marches here in Scotland. We had marches in London, in Paris, in Manchester. But it's important because there's a lot of turns of phrases that people use in everyday life that lead back to something that is not a good part of history. So that's why I think it's important to have, why this show is important, because there's a lot of white people that feel like they know that their silence is complicity, right? And I think it's important that we need to have these tough conversations. And fried chicken is not a black thing. It's a delicious, delicious thing that I wish I had right now, but I don't. I'm having veggie burgers tonight, and they're gonna taste awful compared to this chicken conversation. Yes. So yeah, it's important to have these, and it's important to have these conversations and dispel the myths, because then that's really where we don't have to talk about the differences in being black and white anymore. They're there. It's time that we work and we get a new administration. So that's a good segue into Kamala Harris being the VP nominee. I love it. I think she was great. She was my first choice when she ran. I ended up casting an absentee ballot for Elizabeth Warren because Harris already dropped off. But I think she's fantastic. And I think she's going to be a great president, because that guy's not, Joe Biden would have been a great president 4 years ago, but we need him now. And I think Kamala Harris is going to be a fantastic president. And just watching yesterday, and it was so weird to see this sort of announcement in an empty hotel convention center, right? Or it looked like a high school gym. Right. There's not thousands of people cheering. It was only based on their words. And I'll tell you this, listening to Joe Biden speak yesterday, okay, not great. I get why he's not the best speaker, but when she got up and talked, and as having a little girl, it's important for her to see that this is where we're going now. I think she's going to be a great vice president, and I really hope they win. I can't wait to vote. So that was way longer than a minute, and I'm sorry.
Hey, well, you said
I'm off the box.
You said this was your last time, Eric. So
Well, yeah, I know.
It felt like such a breakup. So so soon.
We're sorry we ran your way.
No, I'll come back later in the run. I can't.
Yeah, not everyone.
There's a lot of other people that need to learn.
Right? Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And one of I think Jessica said we should do some chicken and waffles. So I just had to throw this up there because how we do. We add some syrup on it and put some chicken on the waffles, and that might have solidified for anybody who hadn't had lunch yet that's going to do it. This is the Chicken Boxx. I'm your host, Kevin Impeccable Peck. Everybody who jumped in, who got on their box, and you getting on your box on the chat makes all the difference in the world, because we need you to talk to us. You know what I mean? Because we want to talk about things. And we're going to go back and review the chat of the different ideas that you said that maybe we should tackle on the Chicken Boxx as we move forward. Okay, our recipes, our seasoning. Okay, let's put our heads together and make it our business. It's just like the nail salons, you guys. It's just like the beauty shops, where we are 100% or 99% of the people who are supporting these businesses, but we need to own them. Even if you need to get together, sometimes if you have a little bit and I have a little bit, now I'm gonna get on us as black folks. And I said I don't use the word folks, but because of my mother says black folks so much, I think I said black folks just out of hearing her say it.
Oh, you better own your own stuff.
I'm gonna own it. I'm gonna own my own stuff, but we got to stop competing so much in every single thing. And we don't pool our resources enough to do something great, because it's hate going on. It's selfish. It's whose name is the CEO, who gets the shine, who gets, it's like later for that. Who's getting the shine is every other community that moves businesses in our neighborhoods and profits. They are getting the shine. And it's time for us to shine by coming together. So those are my final words. This is the Chicken Boxx with 2 X's. Look for it. We're going to speak our truth. We're going to allow you to speak our truth. We're going to have different guests, usually from different communities, because we want to merge the thoughts, because we all don't think alike. And believe it or not, all black people don't think alike either. So especially those who are in the Trump videos, who are behind there with the hats on saying "Make America Great." They think differently too. They're still black. We still love them. We might not love how they think, but hey, that's what it is. Until next time, happy birthday, Afro-American newspaper, 128 years. If you're not a member, man, go to the site, and they have been doing such a great job for so long, but it's changed, everybody. We need people everywhere handling technology, editing videos, writing blogs, and that costs money. And your money helps support journalism and takes it around the world. So become a member, join the club, and thank you again, Eric. UK, you know, you're my brother from another, I won't say another mother, but just from another place. And I've been to the UK, and they have things like Tennessee fried chicken there. So who knew?
Yeah.
Who knew? They have all kind of funny chicken there. In New York, fried chicken is everywhere. We lost Dr. Draper because she has to go to a 1 o'clock. But everybody, you enjoy yourself. Have a good lunch. And if fried chicken is your thing,